Hello and welcome to Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley Caronia. Rumble.com/Hayley is where you can watch this show in full. So you might be watching on X or Facebook. Come on over. The water's fine. Rumble.com/Hayley. We are exclusive full video on Rumble. So 6 p.m. Eastern time. Join all my homies in the chat. It's so much fun. We've already been in there chit-chatting for 15 minutes before the show started. Lots of camaraderie, lots of community. So join us. It's a lot of fun. Of course, if you can't catch us right at 6 p.m., that's totally fine. Watch whenever you want. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, that's where you can listen. But make sure that you tell a friend about the show. We're on an upward trajectory here. We're trying to grow the show. So tell a friend, drop the link in the family group chat, whatever. Just make sure that everyone that you care about knows about Nightly Scroll. Okay, so let's get into what we have on deck tonight. Political violence, unfortunately, is raging on in this country, and it's showing no signs of slowing down. I'm going to go inside attacks on the left and the right that are a massive cause for concern. Also, former White House press secretary under Joe Biden, Jen Psaki, is insulting Second Lady Usha Vance's intelligence and her marriage to Vice President Vance. I'm going to get into that. Also, a Democrat Senate candidate has a Nazi tattoo and a lot of other concerning resurfaced statements. And the Democrats don't really seem too concerned about putting him at the top of their ticket. They're going to use him to attempt to unseat Susan Collins there in Maine. We'll see how this all plays out. It's interesting when the Democrats care about Nazis and when they don't. Interesting. Also, is Taylor Swift selling Nazi jewelry? Some people seem to think so. All of that and so much more coming up on this episode of Nightly Scroll. Rammed into a man driving a car, obviously. Rammed into the security gate at the White House entrance. This was at 10:37 p.m. late last night, and the man was immediately arrested by Secret Service, of course, but we're showing video right now if you are listening and not watching. This guy was driving a sedan. He drove into the security gate at the White House, and he was immediately detained and arrested by Secret Service. They are doing an investigation. They investigated his car. They determined that there is no threat there, that there was nothing inside the vehicle that posed a further threat. But he was taken to a hospital for a mental health evaluation. He was also expected to be charged with unlawful entry and destruction of government property. Now, it's unclear. I know I teased at the top of the show, we're talking a lot about political violence here. It's unclear if this was politically motivated at this time. There are still a lot of unanswered questions. We don't know the guy's name. We don't know the guy's story. We don't know his criminal history. We don't know if this person was anti-Trump, what his motives were. All of those details have not been made public, and the investigation is still ongoing. Thankfully, Secret Service is looking into this, and I trust them to do so and to hold this man accountable. But we've seen so many close calls with President Trump. Too many close calls. He survived a gunshot to the head last summer. Thankfully, it grazed his ear. Another crazed lunatic tried to shoot him again at his golf course in Florida just a few months ago. Another crazed lunatic attempted to jump the fence at Mar-a-Lago. Do you remember this? To try to get to Kai Trump. He wanted to marry Kai Trump. So it's not even just Trump. It's the whole family at large. Then the Secret Service earlier this week found a hunting stand where the president deplanes from Air Force One in Palm Beach. I'm going to go into that in further detail with my tactical details segment with Scott Bryson tomorrow, because he's former Secret Service. So I want to get that kind of in-depth breakdown, which is why I haven't covered that in detail on the show yet. But all of that. And now a car drives straight into the security gate at the White House. You know, when President Trump said years ago, they want to take away my freedoms because I'd never let them take yours away. They silence me because I'd never let them silence you. And they're not after me. They are after you. And I'm just standing in the way. The more attacks and threats that you see on President Trump's life or his family or his place of residence, the more that rings true. They're after us, right? We've seen this before Charlie Kirk's assassination, and still the left has put a target on the backs of anyone they deem a threat, anyone they deem a Nazi, which they just throw around now, and it essentially means nothing. It's losing all of its meaning because everyone and everything is Nazi, right? ICE, they're Gestapo, anyone is Nazi, it's secret police. They use all these terms and just throw them around, and then they label anyone who's Republican or anyone who's like Trump adjacent at all. So it just means nothing. But here is Exhibit A of this undeniable liberal hatred caught in 4K. Watch this. So this is at a Turning Point USA event, University of Arizona.
Nazis, can you set up somewhere where I can avoid you easily?
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day.
Nah, fuck you, Nazi. Watch your neck.
Thanks.
So that was a pink-haired, probably trans person. Seemed trans, seemed like a very deep voice on a very tall individual walking around in women's clothes and a pink wig. And walked by and said, Nazis, can you set up somewhere I don't have to see you? And then, of course, ended that exchange with, watch your neck. Again, there's no emotional intelligence detected with these people. They can't regulate their emotions. They cannot grasp that people who don't align with them politically aren't the enemy and aren't inherently evil. And that Turning Point USA was founded on the principles of small government, freedom of thought. That goes beyond political party. But what Charlie championed the most was having constructive conversations with anyone who was willing to step up to the mic and debate him and even just have a conversation with him. And what we saw in that video at the University of Arizona is just cowardice. That person has no interest in having a conversation. They only have an interest in throwing verbal insults while he, she, they walks away. And of course, the students at the Turning Point USA table, they don't give in to the taunting. The left keeps delivering a manual on what not to be like. And in the wake of this violent language, these students, the Turning Point USA students, they remain calm, they remain poised and professional. And they're making me very proud to be part of the same movement. I'm so hopeful for this next generation of conservatives. Now, this next story is also still under investigation, and I want to preface this by saying I don't know if it's a targeted attack or it's just a coincidence, but these days I don't think that we can take coincidences not seriously. We have to take them seriously, and Danbury, Connecticut police are investigating a broken window at Republican mayoral candidate Emil Bezaide's campaign headquarters. So this is what Bezaide for mayor, posted on Facebook. There's a picture of the Bezaide for mayor campaign headquarters in Connecticut there, and he's running for mayor. And it says elect Bezaide on the window, and you could see there's caution tape, there's a traffic cone, there's tape holding the window, what's left of the window, together. And it says in the caption, over the weekend, it appears that a projectile hit the window of my campaign headquarters on West Street. The object left an indent in the glass but did not penetrate. However, the glass did crack and the entire window must be replaced. Danbury PD has been notified. Interesting. Could this have just been, a random rock that was kicked up by a passing car and it just happened to, lodge itself into the window of a campaign headquarters? I guess it's possible, right? But with everything going on today, you could just never be too sure. But these attacks are not just on the White House. They're not just on Republicans. And let me make myself very clear. All acts of violence, all death threats, no matter who the target is, that's wrong. Political violence is always wrong. And a pardoned Capitol rioter was just arrested for allegedly threatening to kill Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader. And, while I do find it very funny to see him in a mustache and a sombrero photoshopped onto him, I don't obviously wish him any harm, on him, on any Democrat, on any politician. So he put out a statement on X saying that he was grateful to state and federal law enforcement. They, took swift and decisive action to apprehend a dangerous individual who made a credible death threat against me with every intention to carry it out. And it's concerning. Court documents say that the suspect had text messages that he planned to eliminate Hakeem Jeffries when he was speaking at the Economic Club of New York on Monday night. And also, according to that same court filing, Apparently, this guy wrote, Hakeem Jeffries makes a speech in a few days in NYC. I can't allow this terrorist to live. And that man who made those threats was arraigned yesterday and entered a plea of not guilty. So, this kind of evil resides on both sides of the political aisle. It's people who have become radicalized. They are angry. Anyone who wants to do harm to another human being is mentally ill. And our society is just completely rotted these days with an overwhelming amount of mentally ill people who are just so easily driven to violence based on, I guess, certain things they see online. It's very scary. Here's another example out of Massachusetts. This is another one that this guy was a former Democrat mayor, and maybe this was politically motivated, maybe it was racially motivated. We'll get into it. But here's the headline: U.S. former mayor stabbed outside blue state business, suspect with multiple arrests charged. So Will Flanagan was the Democrat mayor of Fall River, Massachusetts until 2014. He faced a recall when he was accused of showing a gun to one of his political rivals. So, we have this underpinning of maybe political violence or an insinuation of political violence. You don't know. But he faced a recall. And anyway, he went on to own a dispensary, a marijuana dispensary, and it's called Cosmopolitan Dispensary. And on Monday evening at 5 p.m., he was stabbed. And he suffered significant injuries, according to police. He was transferred to the hospital where he is listed in serious but stable condition. Unfortunately, again, this is another example of violence that could have been prevented completely, because the suspect not only suffers from mental health issues, but has been arrested several times in the past decade. I personally think that if you reoffend once, you need to be in jail for a very, very long time, if not for life. Because I think people can make a change, right? They can make a mistake, they can go to jail, they can serve their time, they can maybe find God in jail, they can better themselves, they can come out of that season of life and be better, right? They can improve, they can change. And I think that we should have faith that that can happen. But when we keep seeing these instances where people just reoffend and then they reoffend and then they reoffend again, it just doesn't really give us hope that that's the case. I mean, it's possible that people can be rehabilitated in this way, but it's not common. I think it's more common for people to go to jail and then this is their way of life. They are career criminals. So I think that if you reoffend one time after you've already served time for another crime, you should be held accountable to a much higher extent. Like, you should be in jail for a much longer period of time, and that should serve as a warning to anyone who messes up to not do it again, right? I think that if we do that, if we're able to pass it, and I know this is a tall order because we've got Democrat DAs and activist DAs that just let people out after doing horrible things, right? But I think that would completely stop these career criminals in their tracks. It would stop their career. It would end their career. And it would significantly cut down on kinds of crimes like this that are completely preventable if you just remove a known threat from the streets for good. But now that we've established that political violence is prevalent on both sides of the aisle and everyone's a target, I would just like to point out the hypocrisy in the Democrat Party. They throw around the word Nazi like it is nothing. They call Republicans Nazi, but now one of their own, a Democrat Senate candidate, is suspected of having a Nazi tattoo. I'd like to throw this question out to the chat and anyone watching. Can anyone name a Republican with a Nazi tattoo? I can't. I don't know anyone. Do you guys know anyone off the top of the head that has a Nazi tattoo? Drawing a blank. I don't know. I've never met a Nazi. I've never met a white supremacist in my life. And I've been running in Republican circles for over a decade. You'd think that I might have met one or at least heard about one, right? I mean, the left says this all the time. It's got to be common. It's got to be prevalent, but I have not met one. So now I'm starting to think that this is just another case of like Democrat projection. So let's meet Graham Plattner, who is running to unseat Senator Susan Collins in Maine. And he's got a tattoo of a skull and crossbones. And you can see this right here if you're watching. It's black. I don't know. I think he's attempted to cover it up since. But because you can't really see it that well. It just, if you're watching, it kind of just looks like a blob. But he said that he got this skull and crossbones tattoo in 2007. He was in his 20s. He was serving in the Marine Corps. And he was on leave in Croatia. And apparently he was drinking quite a bit. And he got this tattoo while he was inebriated. And he wasn't aware until recently, decades later after getting the tattoo, that image had been associated with Nazi police. So in a recent interview, Plattner said that he was trying to remove the tattoo, but he chose to just cover it up with another tattoo because he lives in rural Maine, and apparently he can't find anyone to remove the tattoo for him. Just in rural Maine, I guess there's no tattoo removal anywhere. It doesn't seem likely. I mean, you might have to drive a long way, but I think if I was running for political office, I would make the drive.
Yeah, I believe I'd gas up. Gas up,
and
head
take
east.
care of that. But, he chose to just cover it up, I guess. Whether you cover it up or remove it, it doesn't change the fact that you got it. It doesn't change the fact that people have probably seen it on him, so whatever. But he also made... Well, actually, can we just have a conversation about... I don't have tattoos. And I know a lot of people who are watching probably have tattoos. I don't have them personally because there's nothing that I would want permanently on my body. There's not a song quote. There's not, a symbol. Nothing that, 10 years from now I probably wouldn't find cringe. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, there's just nothing that speaks to me in that way that I need to have it on my body. In the wise words of Kim Kardashian, you don't put a bumper sticker on a Bentley. So I don't have any tattoos. And I was asking Andy and Justin, they don't have tattoos either. But it just seems odd to me that you can be that drunk and get a tattoo. I don't think that you should be able to. They don't let drunk people board airplanes for the most part. They don't let drunk people do a lot of things. Why can you be drunk and get a tattoo? I don't know why that happens. Also, I've been drunk before. I've never, and maybe this is just because I don't want tattoos, but I would never think of like, oh, we're drunk, let's go, I'm with my friends, let's get friendship tattoo. Like,
if you were to family feud this
mind.
and ask what are the top 5 things that people do when stories come from being very drunk, getting a tattoo would be in the top 5.
I know.
This isn't rare.
When I'm drunk,
right?
I want to go to McDonald's. I don't want to go to the tattoo shop. Anyway, that's just me.
Get a McDonald's tattoo,
Just show my love for the golden arches. Beef tallow only. No, you're never going to see a tattoo on me. That's not going to do it. Someone in the chat said, you're not allowed in the military some places anyway. I'm assuming this has got to be, maybe it's on the books in some places where you're not allowed to get a tattoo drunk, but people don't know if they're drunk. They come in and maybe they hide it pretty well, but I don't know. This just seems crazy to me that you could be that drunk and not know what you're putting on your body or not care what you're putting on your body. Like, even if you're drunk, I feel like if there's a needle going into your body, that would sober you up really quick. And you'd maybe ask some questions like, hey, what are we doing here?
The tattoo artists own their own business. You know what I mean? So they kind of work like somebody in a barbershop. They work probably for the tattoo shop, but they work for themselves inside the tattoo shop. So it's like, they're not going to care who comes in.
No.
They'll put whatever on you whenever.
I know, but then it begs the question, if he's so drunk, did he tell them he claims that he didn't know that this was a Nazi symbol. So did he ask for just like a generic skull and crossbones and this is just, I don't know. I mean,
he pointed at the wall and said, give me that one.
But then, again, if he pointed at the wall or if he pointed at the book, does this tattoo shop in Croatia just have Nazi stuff in their book? Maybe.
I guess he didn't know he was in the Nazi section of the tattoo shop.
I don't know. It's a wild thing to think about. But anyway, he made other insensitive comments on Reddit. He was diminishing military sexual assaults. He also made a comment about black people not tipping. He has since apologized for these comments. He also said that white rural people are like stupid. Like he's an equal opportunity shit talker, it seems. But he claims that, he claimed that he got the Nazi tattoo because he was drunk in the army. And then these comments that he's made, these racist, insensitive comments, were made because he was struggling with PTSD. I don't think any of those things are sufficient excuses, but he is still going to try to unseat Susan Collins, who's been in office for 30 years, which is another problem. And a lot of these votes that get tight in the Senate, they come down to Susan Collins. They come down to Lisa Murkowski. They come down to Senator Manchin, these kind of middle of the road senators who, they're important in the Senate. Like a lot of these decisions come down to them. They'll go either way. They'll it's not like they just like vote party line. A lot of these, they're important. So that's a seat that's maybe we don't want to give up that seat. I mean, maybe for more of a MAGA person, but we certainly don't want this fellow to take that spot. But Democrats are still keeping the government shut down. And of course, they point the fingers at Republicans. Republicans are pointing the fingers at Democrats. It's just this Spider-Man meme of like, it's your fault. But here is the Democratic whip of the U.S. House of Representatives, Catherine Clark, saying the quiet part out loud. Listen to this.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leveraged times we have.
And there it is. She doesn't really care too much about coming to the table and working with Republicans to make sure that federal workers and members of the armed forces get paid. The Democrats, are more concerned with getting what they want. They couldn't care less if people are living paycheck to paycheck and they're going without a pay for weeks. They only care about health care, essentially, for people who don't belong here anyway. So this is all about leverage. It's not about anything else. This is about them getting their way, and they'll do just about anything to do it. As we know, the Democrats stoop to new lows each day. This is Exhibit B. Here is White House Press Secretary under Joe Biden, Jen Psaki, making some insensitive comments about Usha Vance, insinuating that she's not happy in her marriage to the vice president and needs to be saved. Watch this.
I think the little Manchurian candidate, J.D. Vance, wants to be president more than anything else.
Yeah.
I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, Are you okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you. And that he's willing to do anything to get there. And that your whole iteration you just outlined, I mean, he's scarier in certain ways.
He's smarter.
In some ways. And he's young.
Yeah. And ambitious.
And agile in the sense that he is a chameleon who makes himself into whatever he thinks the audience wants to hear from him. Now, what's also true, though, is J.D. Vance is not – he's in some ways goodish on paper if you like what he believes in. I don't know. But I don't know that he can take the whole movement with him.
No way.
I don't think so either.
There's no riz.
It's got no riz, right?
None.
And he just is a little odd. And
totally.
So Trump's odd in a different way. So I'm skeptical of that. So yeah, he's got to. I mean, everything going on right now, and I think we have to be very clear-eyed about this, is about trying to manipulate the public around elections.
So there's a lot of things to break down in this clip. First being the fact that Democrats are realizing that they no longer have to run against Donald Trump, but they do have to run against his movement. And J.D. Vance is the heir apparent. J.D. Vance is their next target. Democrats are going to have to run someone who can take on J.D. in 2028. And that's going to be difficult, seeing that they have a really empty bench, if you will, of talent, if you want to call it talent, on the Democrat side, I don't think that they've got anyone who can hold a flame to J.D. Vance. Now, they are underestimating the support that Vice President Vance has among MAGA. And not only MAGA, but I think J.D. Vance would even bring some never Trumpers back to the Republican Party, because people who hate Trump, fine. You know, J.D. Vance is associated with Trump, but I don't think that Republicans hate J.D. the same way that they hate Trump. And I guess the left is going to try to make J.D. a target. And they tried to do this during the campaign, by the way. And they talked about J.D.'s resume and how he looks good on paper, I guess. You know, when Jen Psaki made that "I guess" comment. If you like his policies, I guess he's good on paper. But they tried to do this during the 2024 campaign, not only making Donald Trump the target, but also J.D. Vance. And they really couldn't do anything to J.D. I mean, all they've done is make fat memes out of him, but they can't really attack him for too much. We like him so much. He's so likable. And he's so well-spoken. And I think he really won over a lot of Republicans during his debate against Kamala Harris. He was wiping the floor with her. And we really saw him for the first time, not just as a senator or as a vice presidential candidate, but as the future of the party and as a potential candidate for president in the future. That was the first time for me that I saw JD and I thought, that's going to be the next president of the United States for sure. And, you know, after the debate, they made JD a target because they thought, oh, shoot, he did such a good job. He made Kamala Harris look more stupid than she already is. And they tried to paint him as weird. Do you remember that? They tried to, that rumor about him, like, you know, having intimate relations with his couch, to say it nicely. They tried to make him out to be weird and odd. And that didn't work because he's so normal and cool. You see him go on these podcasts with Theo Vaughn and others like that, and he's such a dude's dude and a guy's guy. He's very normal, very down to earth. He has this, you know, horrific childhood that he struggled through with, you know, poverty and drug addiction and all this stuff. And he made it out to the other end to then be the vice president of the United States. That's not weird. A lot of Americans who live in the South and in middle America, who they're living in these flyover states and they feel like no one cares about them, they see themselves and their story and their struggles in Vice President Vance. And this is going to be his ticket, his golden ticket to winning in 2028, should, you know, he run and everything like that. But for these ladies to say that J.D. Vance has no riz is quite the statement. It's got no basis to it. J.D. Vance, he's got riz. I hate to say it, but he's got riz. He's handsome. He's well-spoken. He's successful. He takes a joke. I mean, they try to like smear him with fat boy memes, and he's like, yeah, it's funny. I like it. He's just very, very cool.
Riz means charisma.
Charisma.
Yes.
Yeah. He's got charisma.
JD Vance, he paints the JD Vance paints. Yeah, JD Vance paints the biggest stroke
definitely has charisma.
Of. I mean, he paints a broad stroke among Republicans because, like, he will encapsulate the MAGA base.
Yeah.
And like you stated, he's reaching into people that have never voted for Trump. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. He's humble. And of everybody that is in MAGA politics, he's probably the most relatable guy.
Right. And
by
then,
far.
you know, Usha is catching strays in this podcast interview where, you know, they're talking about J.D. Vance and then they have to insinuate that the second lady isn't safe or happy in her marriage. Jen Psaki said, you know, blink twice if you need help, if you need saving, you could come over to our side. What? Also, Usha Vance could run circles around Circleback Psaki. If she didn't want to marry J.D. Vance, she wouldn't have. And the left also uses this same narrative about Melania Trump. She should leave Trump. She should save herself. You know, the left thinks that women on the right are oppressed in their marriages. They think that conservative women are these stupid trad wives that can't think for themselves. It's like they can't possibly wrap their heads around a healthy, happy marriage. And maybe they're the ones that need saving. Taking a quick break to tell you about Genucel. Does anyone have a double chin forming? These like neck wrinkles? It happens, all right? And ladies and gentlemen, people look at your jawline. It tells your age. So introducing the brand new Genucel Skincare Neckline Lift with dual peptide and MDL technology. This is Genucel's most advanced technology ever. And it could not only help tighten saggy skin around the neck and chin, but it could help plump the lipophilic layers of your skin to help contour and define the neckline in just minutes. Using peptides and metolactones together for the very first time, it works amazingly quick, and many see results getting better every day. With Genucel's MDL technology, Genucel's brand new neckline lift specifically targets that delicate skin to help you see tight, healthy, younger looking skin. You will see your mirror smile back at you, or 100% of your money back, no questions asked. That's their 120-day money-back guarantee. Just order now, and the Genucel immediate results. You will see results in just minutes. Your neckline lift essentials package will do all the work for you. Save over 70% off during this limited time introductory offer. No double chin, no turkey neck, no sagging neckline, because no one needs to know your age. Genucel.com/scroll, Genucel.com/scroll. Order now and get free priority shipping. Go to Genucel.com/scroll, Genucel.com/scroll. All right, so I have a few examples here of just leftists not being very nice. So I saw this, I was scrolling last night, and I saw that Riley Gaines, she is the anti-trans activist. She is pro-woman. She has rallied for women's rights because she swam against transgender Leah Thomas, Will Thomas, and it was unfair. And now she is standing up for women everywhere, specifically female athletes. And, you know, she's doing more than just talking. She's putting her money where her mouth is. She is actually trying to make the community better, not only through her foundation and spreading awareness of this issue of transgenders in locker rooms and sports in general, but now she ran for the Sumner County Library Board, and she is now a new member. So this says, say hello to your newest Sumner County Library Board member. And she says, I'm honored to serve the community I grew up in and the one that will raise our daughter. If you want to see change, don't wait for someone else to make it happen. Step up and make the change yourself. And, you know, some of the comments were nice. Most of the comments were not. You know, someone says, I love you, Riley. And then other people, well, I'm embarrassed by this. Can she read? Someone said, and she's not a great swimmer either, so I wonder what that means for her reading comprehension skills. I'm not really sure what they're trying to say with that. Are we sure she's functionally literate? What a horrible decision. No thanks. Ugh. It's like Sumner County doesn't care at all about education. Meanwhile, she's trying to educate people on literally what biology says, that men are men and women are women. So these people claiming that, you know, she's not, putting forth proper education, or she would be, is crazy. This girl looks like she took standard English all through high school and squeaked by with a C average. Definitely didn't do any of the reading. If you've ever heard Riley speak, she's very well spoken. You could tell how smart she is. It's just stupid. I mean, obviously, she's college educated. She's made a very nice career for herself. Apparently, Sumner County enjoys book banners. She's the last person we need on that board. I mean, come on. Someone just said, when she wins 5th best librarian, is she going to blame the last place librarian? I mean, these people are just disgusting. And, you know, here's another example of the left just not being very kind. So Gayle King posted this on Instagram. And Gayle King is a host at CBS. And she was sitting next to Jesse Waters of Fox on a plane. They were on the airplane. They were seated next to each other. And Gayle said this, Two TV people from competing networks walk on a plane, and to the surprise of them both, they're seated right next to each other for over 4 hours. How did it go? Speaking for Jesse Waters here, a good time was had by all. Hi, Jesse, saving your number. And, this got a lot of attention, right? 15.5 thousand likes. Here are some of the comments. Some people are for it. Normal people, right? I think this is great. Two people had a good time together, didn't put their political beliefs in front of a friendship or flight home. That's the way it should be. Other people, yes, normalize getting along. You're a class act. Very nice, like the good old days. More of this, please. Looking people in the eye while holding a conversation over hiding behind screens and keyboards. Then, other people not so happy. This is really not cute at all. Why would you even post this? Sad faces or unhappy faces. Really, the man slams black women and you sit there like he is your best friend? What? Like, these people are just insane. Curious the thought process behind this post. It's one thing to support opposing views when the individual loathes, ridicules, lies, and vilifies all that you stand for. How do you grin and bear it? It's like grinning for a selfie with the leader of the Proud Boys at a No Kings rally. I just can't with these people. It's two people on opposite sides of the political aisle, and, why can't they get along? Why can't they have a nice conversation and enjoy each other's company? We should be able to sit next to someone that differs in opinion, differs in their political alignment, and be okay and have fun with them. That should be the standard. It's just very sad to see the left be so hateful where two people are just enjoying each other, and I don't know.
And what about just being nice?
Right.
Just sit down and be nice.
Sure
you don't have to agree with everything.
Solve
with
all
everybody.
the world's problems on the
nice.
flight, but it's okay. And Jesse's always very funny and very nice. Anytime I'd ever met him, he was very nice, very friendly, very professional. So again, these are the kinds of people who work in the TV industry. You're professional, you're kind. You might fight on a segment and then, you shake hands after. That's what it's all about. Grow up, people. All right, I want to talk to you about a new study that talks about Republicans and who is primed to lead the pack. We were just talking about J.D. Vance earlier to harken back to that moment. But here is the study. So they talked to almost 1,000 registered Republicans. They also spoke to 178 independents. And here is who these people that were these respondents, this is who they want to see run in 2028. Who would you support if the Republican presidential primary was held today? And there's J.D. Vance at 38%, and he is leading the pack. And then there's Donald Trump Jr., which I was not really expecting, at 25%. No, I didn't expect Don Jr., really.
That's it. I mean, I guess he's not been as involved as I thought he would be in all of this, but
I mean, Donald Trump Jr. is beating out Not Sure at 15%. He's also beating out Ron DeSantis, Marco Rubio, Nikki Haley, Ted Cruz, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I think Marco Rubio should be way higher than 4%. So just to fill you in, if you're listening and not watching, JD is at 38%, Don Jr. at 25%, Not Sure 15%, Ron DeSantis 6%, Marco Rubio 4%, Nikki Haley 3%, Ted Cruz 3%. Nikki Haley and Ted Cruz have no shot. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, though, I think should be higher than them two. So it's just interesting. Can you scroll down? Who's after that? I don't see who's after. Oh, then there's someone else at 2%, Glenn Youngkin at 1%, Tom Cotton at 1%. I kind of forgot about Tom Cotton, to be totally honest with you.
Can you imagine getting outpolled by Not Sure and someone else?
Yeah, which is not good. And I like Glenn Youngkin, too.
That was like the last election cycle. The candidate lost
nuts?
to none of the above.
None of these? Or D's nuts? Yeah, this is interesting. I I would have thought that Ron DeSantis would be higher, but I guess he didn't really do that well when he ran for president. He totally, if you remember.
No, that was fumbled. That whole thing was fumbled.
Oh my gosh, his first introduction to the campaign, he launched his campaign on X Spaces and it totally crashed and nobody could hear it. And that was just, I mean, coming out the gate and falling on your face. So that was horrible, and I don't think it helped him at all. But then he was not good in any of the debate performances. Like, he was not the same Ron DeSantis that we saw in those COVID press briefings where he was, you know, making an example out of all the people in the press. I mean, he was very good and very strong and was a great leader. And I think he's wonderful. I mean, he's a great governor. He's doing amazing things, but he just didn't, you can't come off of Donald Trump and then have such a massive personality and then go to Ron DeSantis. Like, there's got to be a buffer in between, but I think Donald Trump set the standard where you've got to command the room, you've got to command the audience, you've got to have this larger than life personality. He set the standard. I think JD Vance would do a really good job carrying the torch, if you will, because he's also got a larger than life personality in a much different way than President Trump. I think more professional, but he can certainly handle the media and handle questions. He's very well spoken. And I think in the same way, that would be a good transition. I don't think people can go from Donald Trump here and then low energy Ron DeSantis.
What's the presidential race? So at 0.025%, we're going to throw Chris Christie in there?
Who else?
I mean, he's ran for 77 years.
Yeah, who else? Like Rand Paul?
I have not anybody that wants to jump in.
I don't even think, too, because JD Vance is kind of the guy, I don't think we're going to see that same kind of field where there's 16 people on the stage and, you know, JD's got to pick them all off like Trump did. I think it's going to be, not a lot of people think that they can beat JD. So you've got to have big balls and delusion.
And those people have also been in the administration too. So it's like, does Marco try to outseat, you know, JD for president of the?
It's interesting because they usually pick people who also ran. You know, Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris, who ran. But yeah, I mean, I think Ron DeSantis kind of ruined his chances by running against Trump. So I don't know. It's something to think about.
No, let's not get it twisted. We love Ron in Florida.
We do love Ron in Florida. All right, I want to go down to this Taylor Swift necklace controversy because apparently, she's got this new album out. It's called The Life of a Showgirl or The Life of a Showgirl, something like that. And she's selling a lot of merch. She's also selling, did you hear this? She's selling voice notes of her like practicing and kind of coming, like the behind the scenes of her coming up with the songs. And it's so bad. Like I'm not a good singer, and I would tell you that I sound better than this in the shower and in the car when I'm doing my karaoke party of one. I sound better than Taylor Swift in these voice notes, but she's selling them. Anyway, she's got no shame. But she's also selling jewelry along with this Life of a Showgirl, all of these different album covers and things like that. And so now she has removed this opalite necklace. Opalite is one of the names of her songs. And people are claiming that there's Nazi and white supremacist symbolism. So if you could scroll down, we'll see the necklace. It's a silver necklace, and it has these rhinestone lightning bolts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, which apparently doesn't show the whole necklace. There's, I think, 12 or 14 of them, but people were saying, oh my gosh, there's 8 lightning bolts, and the lightning bolts are like the SS Nazi symbol, and because there's 8 of them, and H is the eighth letter of the alphabet, it stands for Hail Hitler, and it's just, people are crazy, but Taylor Swift fans are crazy. They look for like Easter eggs everywhere, and I think
somebody say Frank Fugazi's name. They're
making a mountain out of a molehill with this. This is totally insane. But I will say it is ugly. The necklace is ugly. I don't know why anyone would wear it. I do question why a woman in her mid-30s is selling such a juvenile, ugly necklace. She's a billionaire with no taste.
Can the world just stop freaking out at every little thing that she does?
It's not even that they're freaking out about everything that she does. It's this obsession with Nazism that isn't there. It's like this boogeyman that the left created. It's crazy. I mean, everything is Nazi. Everything is the Gestapo. Everything is Hitler. Everything, everyone, every Republican, everything. And it's like, shut up. The more that you say it, it's going to lose meaning. Like, what happens when there is an authoritarian dictator and, you know, everyone else and their mom is a Nazi? It's like, well, it's just insane. But anyway, it's, you know, I don't think she's a Nazi. People are saying it's fugly. I agree. Kiss has lightning bolts in their name. Right. Someone said, who is she? Well, I would invite you to crawl out from under the rock that you've been living under. She is the biggest pop star of all time. Maybe not of all time, but today, certainly. Not that I enjoy her music, but she's big. And she's a capitalist billionaire through and through. I mean, she is just trying to make money, but I do not think that she's a Nazi. And everyone is just obsessing over Nazism, and there's no there, in my opinion. All right, can we talk about, do you guys know Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard?
I know the two, actor and actress, but I'm interested in this story because I've read it I'm trying to understand what is happening here.
Yeah, I don't know. So Kristen Bell posted on Instagram, and she was in Gossip Girl. She's in The Good Place, that show. She's in The Good Place. She's in, what's that new show when she's dating the rabbi? It was a very cute show. I forget what it's called, but someone in the chat will tell me. But Kristen Bell, very talented actress. She's married to another talented actor, Dax Shepard. And she posted this on Instagram for his birthday saying, happy 12th wedding anniversary. My bad. I stand corrected. Happy 12th wedding anniversary to the man who once said to me, quote, I would never kill you. A lot of men have killed their wives at a certain point. Even though I'm heavily incentivized to kill you, I never would. And I did find this funny. Dateline on NBC commented and said, screenshotted, just in case there's one day they need to pull together a documentary on Dax Shepard killing Kristen Bell. They've got this in the books. The evidence is there.
There's a bunch of celebrities that even commented on this and liked it, and
well,
even publicly thought it was funny. Yeah.
Right. And like, yeah, obviously they're making a joke. If this was serious and there was a serious threat against her life and she thought that her husband was going to kill her, I don't think that she would post this as a joke, but they have a very joking relationship. But it is a little concerning. I looked up the stats on it, and back in 2021, maybe it's higher now, but in 2021, 34% of all female murder victims were killed by their intimate partner, as opposed to 6% of their male victims. Getting married.
But he's a comedian. And
getting married, I don't know if it's in the cards for me, and it might just save my life.
Your chances of you're saying you're getting married, also your chances of murder goes up?
Go way up. Well, at least the odds that you get killed by your husband.
Well,
but
you
I guess
need
if
to
you never get married.
Slow down driving and even the odds out because, you drive 180 miles an hour.
The chance is 0 that I'll get killed by my husband. Huh. Anyway, all right, let's do this hamster smuggling because I think that this is so funny. So I actually didn't read this article, but there was a hamster that was on an American Airlines flight. Of course it was an American Airlines flight. New York Post, hamster. This person smuggled a hamster on a flight and it escaped on the plane and it caused them a 2-hour delay. It was a flight from Lima to Tarapoto. Am I saying that wrong? I don't even know where Tarapoto is. Do you know? Never even heard of it. I'm going to Google it right now. Here we are. We're doing research on the fly. Oh, it's a city in Peru. Okay. I stand corrected. So Lima to Tarapoto. And I don't know why, if you want to bring your hamster or your pet on the plane, you can do that. If you take it through, if you buy it, like I've done this with Birdie. I had to fly her down here. And I checked my bag and I told them that I had a animal and I checked her through security, and you're allowed to bring your pets on planes. Whether they're an emotional support animal or anything or not, you can bring your animal.
How did he get the hamster on the
Well,
the
they
plane?
smuggled him through TSA.
Where?
Or security, which, great question. Great question. Where was it? And we did cover this.
I think that's the $1 million question.
Remember the woman who put the 2 turtles or tortoises in her bra in Miami? People try to do this. I don't understand. What are you trying to get away with? The fee? Maybe they're getting away with the fee. They don't want to pay. But again, like, you could hurt your animal smuggling them in your shirt or in your pants or wherever in your pocket. Did they walk through the x-ray machine with a hamster in their pocket? I mean, it can't be. This has got to be some, like, very lax security wherever. I don't know which airport they left from and they were checked from, but this is insane. It's just crazy. All right, let's do some scrolling time. This is Ring camera footage of a guy. He's a food delivery driver. He sets the food down, and then this family or this house, they've got a pride flag out front, and it touched him. Here's how he reacted. He sets the food down, ducks under the flag, and cleans himself off. Then takes a picture of the food and runs away. I think the call is coming from inside the house on this one. I think if you're that concerned about your sexuality or your manhood, your masculinity, just like if touching a pride flag threatens that, I think your manhood was on thin ice.
Nah, I'm with it. That's based.
Really?
And I think it's funny.
You would wipe off where the pride flag touched you?
It'd be pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
Okay. Someone in the chat said, I'd do that. Someone said fake for clicks. Someone said, why is the stupid flag in the way? I joke about this because I think my gaydar is broken. I think everyone is gay. I just think, not everyone, but a lot of dudes these days, I just think it's gay. Maybe it's low T. I don't know what it is. But my gaydar is like, beep, 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 beep. And we were on the flight home from DC, and I asked Andy and Justin, I showed them a profile on a dating app of this guy, and I said, is this guy gay? I thought he was, and they both said no. So I just think more people are gay than they really are, but I would say happy Pride Month to this Gaylord in skinny jeans.
At least he didn't throw the food on the porch. We've seen that where Uber drivers throw the food,
because it's like a
food
Trump
on the
flag
porch.
and they throw the food on the floor or something. Yeah. Anyway, I've got more AI videos for you. Here's some cats. Watch this. Cats running around. They got the zoomies.
Are you two completely insane?
And unfortunately, I just want to let everyone know that I completely fell for that AI video. It doesn't happen often, but I thought that was real. And it has garnered millions of views. Millions of views. And I saw the video, thought it was funny, scrolled past. Then I saw this video. Watch.
The cat video, the one we all just saw of the woman asleep in her bed, it's like security cam footage, and a black cat and a striped cat are like, running around the room like hell, like cats do. And she wakes up and goes, "Are you completely insane?" And like everything in the video is identifiable. You could see the woman's slippers at the end of the bed. You could identify everything on the nightstand. That's AI. How was I supposed to know that? How would I know that? There's no watermark. There's no flaws in the footage. There's no flaws in the audio. What? There's dread. There's dread in my chest.
Andy, you're vindicated. We make fun of him all the time for falling for AI, but I fell for it. And
these cats.
I'm thinking about it too, because cats running around in the middle of the night like this getting zoomies is totally believable.
I'm sure, yeah.
This is totally believable. And I did start to realize after I saw that it was AI and I had fallen for it, then I realized how many people have security cameras in the corner of their bedroom.
Maybe a few. Did he?
Probably not a lot. Probably
Possibly.
not a lot. And if you have one in your bedroom, you're probably not putting it up to catch your cats running around at night. You probably might have nefarious reasons for that.
The cat with the screwdriver. I said it looked, the video looks real. The cat shooting the Kalashnikov up in the air yesterday.
Right.
That one I could admit. I knew that was fake from the jump. Cats don't shoot AK-47s. This right here, there's no way. There's no human that could tell that if you just showed it one time to somebody on a phone, look at what my crazy cats were doing.
I know.
No chance.
Wait, can you pull it up again? Because now I was looking at it after I found out that it was AI. I was kind of reading through it with fresh eyes, and the door is like is it like a fisheye camera? The door looks a little funky.
Yeah, it's probably imitating like a fisheye security camera. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, that's good. That is really good. I'm scared.
The internet has come full circle. We went from real cat videos 14 years ago, and now we're watching completely fraudulent cat videos.
I know. Fraudulent cat videos. 2025. All right, this next video is real, and it is a real cute baby. Watch this. This baby is eating a lime. Unsure. And then starts to scream. And when I was little, I used to eat lemons and limes all the time, which I guess is not normal. But
just like straight up?
Yeah, like not the rind, but I would eat the fruit part. I absolutely loved it. I love sour stuff. And I was laughing at these comments because someone says, tequila has 21 years to prepare itself. I think I'm holding this the wrong way. Wait. Oh, I can see the pictures on the iPad, but I'm logged into my TikTok account. Just to fill everyone in, TikTok has a photo feature. You can comment a photo. Kind of like how you can comment a GIF on Instagram, you can comment photos from your camera roll on TikTok. And I had the ability to do that, and then they took it away. It's got to be something with my damn phone because it's working on my iPad. On me iPad. Anyway, someone said, I speak a little baby, and she said tequila, and tequila is going to be afraid of her. Bruh. What the heck? What is happening? Oh, here it is. It was stuck. Wait, it's still stuck. Like it went the right way and now it's not. All right, fuck it. Let's play the next one. And we won't.
To my white coworker who said I look like a chubby MLK. Hey, that was funny.
Do you think this guy looks like MLK?
I'm gonna watch you.
For sure.
Funny though.
I think he looks like MLK, and the comments were absolutely sending me. So unfortunately, I'm technologically challenged and I can't flip the orientation of my iPad. But I will read you some of these comments. Someone said Martin Burger King. Someone said I have a dreamsicle. Someone said I was mad for you until you lifted them glasses. Someone said I ate a dream. Andy thought that was funny. We need you, bro. We're suffering in the USA right now. Someone said dreaming about snacks. Chocolate MILK. The MLK was capitalized. Someone said sweet baby Jesus. He's right. Personally, you remind me a little of Isaac Hayes. I don't know who that is. Who's Isaac Hayes? Do you know him? I don't either. Someone said I really wanted to defend you, but your coworker was right. Yeah, you put the Martin Luther King. You put the king in Martin Luther King. I think it's a pretty good doppelganger. Pretty good doppelganger. All right, this last video is for Andy because he's a Cowboys fan. This is probably how you feel when you have to watch them lose. Watch this.
I'll see if I can get your thoughts on the game.
I hate this team. I was born into this, and I'm not going to ever... I'm always a Jets fan, but, like... I hate this team.
so dejected. I feel like a lot of sports fans, not just the Jets, can identify with this. But Andy, your reaction?
Yeah, no, this is my attitude, literally quarter by quarter with the Cowboys.
I was born into this.
And Sean Farish, your friend Sean Farish, is a Jets fan, so
he is?
I'm surprised that he's not he didn't go to the game with that guy.
Oh my
like
gosh.
Poor Sean. At least Cowboys have won a couple more games than the Jets, but like that, this poor kid. We feel the pain, brother.
Isaac Hayes. I guess I'm supposed to know who this is. Isaac Hayes, American singer and songwriter and composer. My bad. I'll read up. I'll do my research. All right. Thank you for scrolling along with me. I will see you right back here tomorrow. Make sure you follow me at Hayley Caronia on Instagram, TikTok, Truth Social, and X. And I'll see you right back here tomorrow.